Welcome to our podcast. I'm Bob.
And I'm Ellis. Today, we're diving deep into the Federal Reserve's recent decision to cut interest rates by 0.5 point.
This is a significant move, especially since it's the start of the Fed's easing campaign after 4 years. We'll discuss what this means for the economy, how it impacts us as individuals, and even take a look at global effects.
First, let's explain what the Federal Reserve, or the Fed, is. Bob, can you give us a quick overview?
Sure, the Federal Reserve is the central bank of the United States. It was created in 1913 to provide the country with a safe and flexible monetary system. One of its main responsibilities is to manage the money supply and interest rates.
Exactly. And the Fed has several tools at its disposal, but one of the most important is adjusting interest rates.
Right, when the Fed lowers interest rates, it makes borrowing cheaper. This can encourage people and businesses to spend more money, which is crucial for economic growth.
And let's not forget about the dual mandate of the Fed to promote maximum employment and stable prices.
Yes, this means that the Fed is constantly trying to balance between keeping inflation low and ensuring that people have jobs.
Now, let's talk about the recent decision to cut rates by 0.5 point. Why did the Fed decide to do this?
There are a few reasons. One major reason is to stimulate the economy. When the economy is slowing down, a rate cut can help boost spending and investment.
That makes sense. Lower rates can help people buy homes, cars, and other big-ticket items, right?
Exactly, and businesses can borrow money more easily, which can lead to more jobs and growth.
In fact, after the announcement, many economists predicted a surge in consumer spending. But how do we know if this will actually happen?
That's a great question. The Fed looks at various economic indicators like job growth, inflation rates, and consumer confidence before making such decisions. But what about the global economy? How does a rate cut in the U.S. affect other countries?
Great question. The U.S. economy is very influential. When the Fed cuts rates, it can lead to lower interest rates in other countries as well, especially those that trade heavily with the U.S.
So, it's like a chain reaction.
Yes. For example, if the U.S. dollar becomes cheaper due to lower rates, countries with exports to the U.S. may benefit from increased trade.
Right, but there are also risks involved. Countries that rely on borrowing in U.S. dollars might face higher costs if their currencies weaken.
Exactly. This can create instability in emerging markets, which often rely on foreign investment.
There are definitely pros to cutting rates, but are there any cons?
Yes, there are. One major concern is inflation. If people and businesses spend too much, prices can rise.
And if inflation gets too high, the Fed might have to raise rates again, which can slow down the economy.
That's a delicate balance. If inflation rises too quickly, it can erode purchasing power.
Exactly, and let's not forget the impact on savers. Lower interest rates mean lower returns on savings accounts and fixed-income investments.
Right. This can discourage saving and encourage risky investments, which can lead to market bubbles.
Now, let's talk about how this rate cut affects us as individuals.
Well, if you have a mortgage or a loan, you might see lower monthly payments, which is great.
Yes, but what about savings accounts?
Good point. When rates are low, you might earn less interest on your savings. So, it's a trade-off.
And for people looking to buy homes, this could be a good time to take advantage of lower mortgage rates.
Definitely. But potential home buyers should also consider the overall housing market, which may still be competitive.
Looking ahead, what do you think will happen next?
It will depend on how the economy responds to this rate cut. If spending increases, it could lead to growth. But if inflation rises too quickly, the Fed may need to act again.
That's true. The Fed has to be very careful with its next steps. We could see more rate cuts or even increases depending on economic conditions.
Exactly. It's a complex situation, and the Fed will be closely monitoring various indicators like employment numbers and inflation rates.
Let's discuss some real-life examples. Have you noticed any changes in your local economy?
Yes, I've seen some local businesses advertising special financing offers. They're trying to attract customers while borrowing costs are low.
That's a smart move. It's a good time for consumers to make purchases, but businesses need to be cautious as well.
Absolutely. And I heard from a friend who's in the market for a new car. They're excited about the lower interest rates making it more affordable.
That's a great example. It highlights how these decisions can impact everyday lives.
Now, let's take some questions from our listeners.
Great idea. We have a question from Sarah. She asks, how long do you think these low rates will last?
That's a tough question. It really depends on economic conditions. If spending increases and inflation remains stable, we might see low rates for a while.
Another listener, Tom, wants to know, should I refinance my mortgage now?
If you can secure a lower rate, it could be a good time to refinance. Just be sure to consider any fees or penalties involved.
To wrap up, the Fed's decision to cut interest rates by half a point is a significant move aimed at stimulating the economy.
Yes, it has both positive and negative implications, and it's important to stay informed about how these changes impact us personally and globally.
Thank you for joining us in this discussion. We hope you found it helpful.
Don't forget to subscribe and share your thoughts. Please feel free to leave a comment below.
See you next time. Take care.